Mirza and Dasturji Peshutan Mirza approached Dasturji Kakashru Jamasasa, and Jamasasa was kind enough to obtain a copy of the book from a library, loaned it to Zarir. Zarir scanned the pages, and the whole book is with me in the scanned pages. What an international cooperation for scholarly work. I want to thank all of them for helping me to do that. So the next one really is, how does Dr. Modi started to write about his travel in the diary. He mentions Francis Bacon, very well-known author, in his essay on travel, where he says, "And let his travel appear rather in his discourse." I'm on slide number 10, I'm sorry. Let his travel appear rather in his discourse than his apparel or gesture. It is interesting. And let diaries therefore be brought in use. So Dr. Modi kept this advice throughout his travels. He kept meticulous diaries of everything that he saw and witnessed and discussed, resulting in 502-page tome of his travels in Africa, Europe, USSR, Iraq, Iran, from 12th April 1925 on steamer Naldera to 5th November 1925 after 208 days. What he did actually is he wrote 101 letters to Jame Jamshed, which appeared over the whole year. And side by side of writing this letter, he also was working on this book, and finally completed on May 16th, my twins' birthday, May 16, 1926, and printed 500 copies of its first edition. He gives tremendous insights into things he saw and witnessed of our religion, society, and customs in Iran at that time. But the best part is he compares them with our Parsi practice at that time. We will discuss some of these items as I mentioned before. So the first item he discusses is multi-story Atash Kadehs of old. He actually wanted to see Baku Atash Kadeh, which was mentioned quite long, and he has done quite a bit of research on it, but he was very fortunate to have visited this. Baku is on the Caspian Sea, as you see in the top part of slide number 13, and he wanted to put it to rest whether it was a Parsi Atash Kadeh or it was not. So this is the place where he had to go. This is actually Azerbaijan. Now remember, Azerbaijan means Azer is Atash, Baijan means the land. It is the land of the Atash. In fact, there is another place called Terra del Fuego in the southern tip of South America, which is also the same way. It is the land of Atash, land of fire. And the Baku is on the Caspian Sea, as you see inside the circle. And then what he is saying that natural, I'm on slide number 15, natural fires on the shores of Caspian Sea in those distant times were considered as sacred and attracted many believers. A large settlement which arose around one of the groups of natural lights gradually grew into a city of Baku. M.J. Saint Martin, a French Orientalist of 19th century, wrote, "The city of Baku is regarded by Parsis as a holy place due to many sources of naphtha." Of course, naphtha is a liquid petroleum in the crude form with natural burning fire, and in many places worshipping an eternal fire. So, about 100 to 200 years ago, he mentions this, describing this Baku Atash Kadeh after visiting it, that India has many of the trade with this area of Samarkand, Bukhara, Azerbaijan, and of course Baku. There were lots of traders from Sindh and Multan who used to be there permanently for the trade, And because in Hindu also, religion, fire, Agni, is the god, so they built a fire temple there for them, or a devil as we call it. And so this is the fire temple, and it was interesting because the fire was naturally originating from earth without any wood or anything to be used. So he did some very good research on when he went there. He examined all the writing, as you see in the lower left-hand corner, which he thought was, which he deciphered as Devanagari script of Sanskrit. And he then finally came to a conclusion which he says, and from all these examinations, I am on slide 17, in addition to what I believed from my various research before visiting this place, I became convinced that this place has nothing to do with Parsis. It is not a Parsi Atash Kadeh, but a Hindu temple. So he was kind of a little bit sad that he wanted to make sure that he is not missing any other old Atash Kadeh, because this is a perfect place for creating and building an Atash Kadeh with the natural gases burning. So he was looking for some information about that, and he tells us a little origin of naphtha. He says, according to him on slide number 18 bottom, our Atash, apam naptar, and the naphtha of this place. He says, in all our gay prayers at the end we pray, and I quote, Twam arterem auremazdal putrem yazamaide, apam naptarem yazamaide, nairim sangem yazamaide. Meaning, we venerate you, Atash, the son of Avramazda. We venerate Apam Naptar Atash, Apam Naptar Atash. We venerate Nair Sang Atash. In this veneration of Atash, Apam Naptar words, the word Naptar, according to Dr. Modi, is the root of the current word naphtha. This naphtha flows like a liquid, and so its Atash is called Ap like Ava is it, meaning liquid. So Apam Naptar, according to him, is reference to the naphtha fire found in the Baku area. So, in the old history, he found that city of Bhagavan, I'm on slide 19, city of Bhagavan, where fires were burning eternally in its fire temples, is mentioned by Armenian historians as Atashi Bhagwan, where Atashi is a corruption of Atash, fire, and Atashi Bhagwan is a place of sacred fires, and identified Bhagavan and Atashi Bhagwan as the ancient name of Baku. Nizam Ganjavi, the famous 12th century Persian poet, in his poem Iskandar Nama, you know Iskandar in Gujarati means Alexander. So this is about Alexander. Iskandar Name wrote, and this is a very interesting quote, in that place was a fire built round with stone, which the fire worshipper used to call Khudi Soz, for it were 100 priests, Erbadan, 100 priests of the fire temple with collar of gold. Let me tell you, this Erbadan or Mobeds were quite rich to have a collar of gold around their neck. But anyway, I am on slide 19 going to slide 20. Interesting quote in this poem. So Khudi Soz is called burning itself. Refers to the burning of natural gas, of gas fires, natural oil or gas fires. For it were 100 priests Erbadan. For so many Ervads to stand before the sacred fire must be in a very large temple. I have never seen 100 inside the fire temple, sanctum sanctorum or so on, but this is an interesting point. In that time, he's talking about 100 Ervads. Such large tiered fire temple with premises able to accommodate 100 Ervads could be the Baku temple tower, known as the Maiden's Tower, which he found nearby to the old fire temple that he thought it was a Hindu temple. The line, in that place was a fire built round with the stone, means that the fire was burning itself surrounded by stone, round stone walls of the tower. So what was this tower he's talking about? So he says there is a minaret very nearby in Baku which is called Kiskal, or in the French, Tour de la Jeune Fille. That means young girl's minaret. There is a legend that one father wanted to marry his own daughter. The daughter was not very happy about it, but she made a deal with her father that if you build a tall minaret and when it is completed, I will marry you. Well, the father completed the minaret, they say. The daughter climbed at its top and fell off and committed suicide. That is the legend about this tower. This is not a simple minaret according to Dr. Modi. In it there are 7 stages of stories or escape routes for the emission of Baku's naphtha. I examined the minaret all the way to its top. I am on 21 going to 22, and here is the photograph of the Baku temple tower as we are talking about. You can see a big round thing on the left and another building connected to it. According to Dr. Modi's examination, this is an ancient Iranian building and it is an Atash Kadeh. It is not a common Atash Kadeh which is fire maintained by burning wood by its priests as we are familiar with, but it is an Atash Kadeh fed by the natural gases naphtha, apam napat, and because of that require a very specific architecture for it. Hafta or 7 is a very holy number in Zoroastrian religion, and hence there are 7 stories or stages in it. At each story, in one corner, there is an escape hole for the natural gas naphtha, which when lit created a fireball. The minaret is taller than 80 feet, more than 10 stories high. The climbing stairs are on one side and its diameter at its top is as large as 40 feet diameter on the top. From the top you can see the vast seashore of Vorukash Sea. Vorukash is the name we pray into our prayers. The current and present name is Caspian Sea, which is one of the largest inland lake, but it is called a sea because it is so large. And from its ramparts you can observe the nature's sun, moon and stars. This reminds Dr. Modi of our Doanam Satashna prayer where we say, O Kuritawa, O Mahabami, O Satare Vashtokhma, Bad Underwai, O Aw, O Atash, O Zameen, O Orvar, O Gospan, O Ayokshast, O Mardum. The meaning, he created the light-giving sun, full of light moon, many generations of stars, wind, air, water, fire, land, trees, animals, metal and man. And imagine praying this at the top of this 7-story high Atash Kadeh, seeing all this around you. Wonderful. In fact, this shows that we really talk about our Mother Earth and preserving the main creations of Dada Hormuz with this kind of prayer. Okay, so he says now that in our country, India, in the ruins of that famous ancient city of Taxila near Rawalpindi city, which is in Pakistan right now, Sir John Marshall has excavated the ruins of an ancient Atash Kadeh. With this Atash Kadeh, there was a tall minaret which was built according to the architecture and design of the ancient Babylon Ziyakurut. I am on slide 25. Such was the design of our ancient Atash Kadehs with adjoining minaret, from the top of which one can see the neighboring sea or river or lake, and from its top one can observe the sun, moon, stars and mountains and worship them. What a wonderful way to worship for the nature. I'm going to slide 26. And he says that our Atash Behram in Navsari is built according to the architecture of ancient Atash Kadehs. Here in Baku, this is a combined Atash Kadeh and minaret in this huge building. In his humble opinion, he says, on one hand, I have discounted the existence of Atash Kadeh of Baku as we saw before, but on the other hand, I brought to light another ancient Atash Kadeh, and for this, hopefully my visit to this place will be some use to my colleagues. I emphasize to all local scholars and the Archaeological Society members who were the host of Dr. Modi and the President of the Republic, whom he met also later on, the importance of this Atash Kadeh and implore them to take good care for its preservation. I am on slide number 27. A closer examination of construction of the tower shows that this is a monumental structure with a large wall thickness. 15 foot of thickness of the wall at the ground, which were 12 foot at the top. In 80 feet of height, it came from 15 foot of thickness to 12 feet. My God, 12 feet is almost 1.5 story in height. And with 117 footsteps from the first floor to the upper area of the roof. This type of